Yes, so I am a fourth generation walnut farmer in California. We have orchards, we manage orchards, we have a nursery. We also have a processing line, harvesting commercially, and we have a shelling and packaging to where we retail sell the nuts. So we've been involved in all aspects of this business with walnuts for many decades. I've been involved in the family business for roughly 30 years.
What's the name of the business?
The business kept changing names over the years, but at the moment I have two. I have Ring of Fire Agriculture is the nursery business and some of the fields, and then the stuff that I'm still combined with my parents with is Olsen Trading Company. As far as this event, I'm here with Nissau Nut Vision, which is Murat's company out of Portugal. So I don't have any companies here in Europe. It's all in California. I've also been involved in some other nut crops, almonds, pistachios, and a few fruit crops, and mostly in the nursery end. So that's a little bit of my background. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, thank you very much.
Okay. So the first thing I noticed here is I have trees that, topwork trees are difficult to structure well because they have a big root that then splits, which gives a crotch all at once. But even with that, this tree is not structured real nicely. It has all these multi-split, which tend to reduce the growth terminally, and they also create weak points that can come over as they load up with nuts. So I'd much prefer that this tree was structured to be more upright with branches out of it, because this leader system is more efficient. With any orchard, what I look at is what is the limiting factor. If you have an irrigated orchard, the limiting factor should be light. And if we can intercept as much light that falls here, we'll have the highest production. On the spacing we have here, we're never going to intercept all the light. Even with the additional spacing, trees that were added in, it still is never going to combine. But the poor structure of the tree is further reducing the light interception. Now, if it's never irrigated, perhaps the limiting factor wasn't light, but was water availability. In which case, but even if that was the case, we've not managed that well because we have the trees all structured together and they're not able to gather water from a larger area, which you do if you're trying to, say, farm without irrigation in a place that didn't have an abundance of rain. You still didn't allow it. So I see an orchard that's inherently somewhat inefficient, both in tree structure and in layout. They have improved that with adding the trees and by grafting to a marketable variety. But there's still challenges. The younger trees are small enough, they could be structured better. These older trees have spurred out and we're going to reduce we aren't going to accomplish much by trying to restructure a tree that's 10 years old and is all spurred out. But these ones perhaps could be. In particular, you want to get rid of stuff like this.
Look what's coming.
Okay. Apparently, I'm now going to be pruning trees.
The owners are not here, so we're not supposed to cut anything.
Don't worry. We got the improvement.
You
have to pay us for this.
You'll have to pay us
So,
for
the big one? There you go.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they asked for it, you know.
Even though they're not here.
They'll get here.
Okay.
No problem.
So challenges we have with this tree, it would have been better if this tree was not cut off right here. This, you can see it was cut here probably 2 years ago. If that had been left as a vertical stringer, we could space our branches more efficiently as it goes up. It was cut there, which forced this crown shape. And there's a couple different ideas over time that have been in walnuts. One in California, it was many decades ago, was this idea to come up and form a crown of a hen's. There's been studies on this is much less efficient at intercepting light and creates a lot more work in tree structure than if you let a tree have a single central portion with branches coming off of it. So we've stopped doing that and it's reduced our labor costs and also increased our production. But if you have a tree that's structured as a hand, it may not be worth trying to restructure it again, especially in this orchard that's already been reworked a couple of times. But we for sure want to take this off. And then a lot of the problem with
We've got stuff like this underneath the canopy, like smaller branches.
yes, you want to look for anything that's going to cross through itself, because if you have like this grows into here and it rubs and it creates points where every time the wind blows, it's creating injury. And that's a point where you can get disease into your tree. And additionally, the tree is constantly trying to heal itself, which takes energy away from producing nuts or growing more productive limbs. So we're going to take off things of this nature or of this nature in here. This branch is smaller and younger, but it's directly underneath this branch. So I think as much as it's increasingly higher tree, we probably need to lose this branch. This one
It will be also shaded by the higher.
Yes, it's going to be shaded off by this branch and by that one also in time. So we're going to get rid of that. And we have here branch with 1, 2, 3, 4 main scaffolds effectively, which is more than we really want, but because we have a tree that's formed this way and its age, we're going to go with it. But we want to get rid of things crossing. Yes, that sort of thing. Now we find the way to avoid creating those splits is by not tipping the ends of the trees. There's been this procedure that was very popular historically and still is mentioned, where you would say cut the ends off of these branches to get them to split more. This is not a good idea. When you tip the end of a branch, it tends to create all these weak splits. And then you have all this work cutting out the doubles. If you avoid tipping the ends of branches, it will generally not create as many splits, and you'll have much less labor costs in pruning. And probably take that one off. So it's internal growing. Most of the nuts on the walnuts, we call these spurs, these short branches. And over time in a mature tree, the bulk of the nuts will be born on that spurred wood. So once you have a tree starting to spur out, we call it, the structure somewhat becomes fixed. It'll grow each year. If it's healthy, we have the nutrition it needs. But if you try to reshape the tree at that point, you're going to take it out of production for probably a couple of years. So we want to avoid doing that in producing orchards. This is not great here. We have these two branches that are effectively on top of each other. They're both fairly large.
I would also cut this one.
Take out the internal one.
Exemplu, expertul din Statele Unite. Tu ești expert?
Nu, eu sunt, de exemplu, cum noi am face în ele, știi?
Lasă. He's sharing his vision.
Yes. So we have a suggestion of, make sure I understood, to take this off and then tip this with the idea that it can grow this way.
What do you think?
It could be. The challenge is looking at the buds in here, trying to get, we would have to for sure get that bud to push. And we cut and it may or may not push. If it did, and you could get the branch to go this way, great. But if it doesn't push, we now have a spur that's maybe growing this way or that way, and we'd have to take off later.
Anyway, this is a pretty unstandard tree. It's not regular.
Yes.
It's already bizarre. What I would ask you is look at that range of trees. Maybe you could spot a tree that has the right canopy you would like to see in a walnut,
Yes.
and work with it.
Yeah.
Because we need some
Reach-
model, you know.
Yeah.
This also is pretty spread out.
That one's a very bizarre tree also. Let's find something that's structured well.
This range seems to be that here we see some like this one.
That one could be made nice. Yes. Either one of these could be made into a nice tree. So,
Like this one, does it seem to you that it's closer to the pruning technique or the training technique you want to do, like see in your orchard, for instance?
not especially. That one's still a fairly bizarre tree.
Over there, the issue is overcrowded.
Yeah. I
And then
also
it takes away the vigor.
And it
I would
splits
also
at the
look
top.
Things like, you know, these guys, the owner now needs to take a pruning shears like this one and start cutting. So like take this tree for instance. What would you recommend doing on it? Like removing what, keeping what? This is
Do something over there.
Yes.
This shape because of wind.
I don't think so. You think this thing was shaped by wind or not? Probably not really.
But this side is really developed, the other side not.
Yeah, I think it's due to
maybe-
pruning techniques.
Maybe, I don't know here, but sun is coming from that side to this side.
This
Somebody
is,
knows.
the south is there. I mean,
that's west.
Yeah,
This
that's
is east.
west,
this is it.
east and west.
East
Okay, so-
and
Open a map.
So if this is south, then yeah, okay. That could be the reason.
So then would you keep all the branching we have in this tree, keeping
No.
in mind that maybe we will have irrigation this year, next season, or maybe we will not. Will this tree be able to, you know, bear all these fruits that we see potentially on the tree, or maybe removing part of them?
The challenge with this tree, okay, so is you have anywhere internal to the tree that starts to get shaded, will tend to create either smaller nuts or nuts that have no kernel, depending on how soon in the year it gets shaded. So these internal wood is problematic. The real mess is up there where I can't reach. With a
With the platform.
with a platform, if I was pruning this tree with a platform, I would come up there and cut so that we had 1 leader at the top. And then from there up, it should form well. On the bottom in here, I would definitely get rid of some of these branches. Get rid of, say, I'd get rid of this branch, one thing.
James, you cut what you consider that should be cut. Don't worry about
I'm more worried about breaking the shears.
That's why we're here. No, the shears, this is a very strong pruning shears.
Okay.
This is the Italian
Okay. So I'm looking at stuff that's overly crushed and gonna shade itself out, because this will lead to shriveled nuts, tiny baby nuts, or moldy nuts, depending on what time of the year it gets overly shaded. We're gonna have anything that drapes down like this does not tend to shake when you go to harvest. And so you'll have mummy nuts, and you have a fair amount of mummy nuts in these trees, which is a problem because you can see this one's already been eaten, but the bugs will live in these nuts over the winter, and then you'll have more pest problems the following year. So anything that doesn't shed its trees needs to be taken off.
So cut everything you consider should be cut.
So we're going to cut that.
We have a smaller pruning shears. Maybe it's more comfortable. Give me that on the...
No, these are pretty good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, anything they say hanging down is not good. The other problem is it blocks view to harvest, which is not good either. I think that needs to come off of there. Probably this whole thing. So, and maybe I can take that there. So, that needs to come off for sure. And
James, may I ask you please?
yes, of course.
You mentioned in terms of shading at particular moment of the season, nuts could get moldy as well.
Yes.
How do you explain
So as a tree loads up with nuts, it will change shape. I'll observe this. If a nut, say, forms where it's in shade for the whole season, it will end up very small, but it'll form well. If it starts where it has light and then goes into the shade as the kernel is forming, the kernel won't form. So you'll have a big shell with an empty nut. If you have a nut that had sun for most of the year and then ends up in shade after it's mostly filled, in many cases you can end up with mold in there because it's shaded and it can't maintain at the very end. So you can have all these issues depending on when the leaves that are supporting that nut end up shaded.
I just did not get how the molding does develop there. You mean?
So there's different kinds of mold in walnuts, but the mold that would be there at the end is this kind of white hair that will grow on the nuts internally that are formed. And they've found more incidents of this. There's been these studies on where they'll pull the nuts off the tree and map where they came from. And they found that more of those nuts with the white hair on them come from the part of the tree that got shaded late in the year. Why this is, I don't know. My suspicion is because the tree doesn't have the energy to fight the mold once it does not have the light to that area. Because they also found that any given nut is supported by the leaves basically right next to it. There's some transport around the tree, but not a huge amount. So that's...
This could be an interesting tree.
Yes, that tree could be interesting also. This one with loppers, at least on this side, is somewhat opened up. If we had platform up in there, it needs to be cleaned, but we cannot reach with these. So, going with the younger tree.
When I finish, you don't have nothing more to take it.
Well,
Oh, to
if
have
I-
one example, but to be ready.
yes, if I had platform, I would
Yeah.
cut up in there.
This is yeah.
But
because it's
I-
5. You need one to
Yes,
delete it.
we need one, and I would cut the top off there
It's overcrowded.
and a couple in there.
Yeah.
It's losing
But
Man, here,
we can't reach. On
I
the-
have one question. For example, this
Yes.
one.
Oh, yes, that should be taken.
Why
I got
would we do this one? An
distracted.
example also. Of
Yes.
course, if you have a time.
The split should be there.
Yes.
Let me finish tree.
You
I've
take
got.
this and or take this one to make it.
Yeah,
So
let's
that's only
see.
one. What do you think about this?
Let me. Yes, good point. Let me finish this tree before we get distracted by the next tree. So we'll take here.
No, it's because not all understand English, and if they'll see, they want.
Yes,
they're
no,
better to
is good point.
to fix it. Information.
Yes. As crowded as this thing is, I'm kind of inclined to take it off here, actually.
Take it.
Yes, that's going pretty vertical.
Yes. I think I would take it off here.
And still, this is not the leader. They come from this one.
Yes. Decided I can cut them with these. All right. I'll take that, and honestly, this probably needs to come out too. Maybe this is getting diseased in there.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take that off because of the disease top. And
It's a bit crazy, but I understand why. We will have the
I'm going to take that off. These are on
Here,
top of each other.
this model here. It's okay.
Probably okay.
yeah,
It's not
yeah. It's not
terrific,
so,
but it's okay. Problem is this one's going to end up down into this one. Maybe I'll put this one here and keep it away from that. And that should come off here. Yeah, so. Yeah. And that's internally crossed. And that's getting shaded out also. Oh, we have a double on that.
Okay, now, example, now I understand what this is. Something what I'm thinking here. It's
Yes.
You do, yeah.
And the other ones we really don't want that coming out of there either. Let's see. Okay. So the lower part of this tree is
Just a second. So these two persons, this is Georgi, this is Anatol. They're from the management team
very good.
of the orchard. So they will also have some questions,
Pleased
of
to
course,
meet you.
because they will be, keeping most of your information and using it right here.
Right here, of course.
So hope you're not against them asking some question.
No, of course. That's why we're here.
Yeah, let's see.
So we just pruned one of your trees.
Nu e necesar de explicat cum am ajuns la această coroană, ori e spus.
Noi ne-am explicat cu realtoire, tot.
Cu realtoire,
Da, am vorbit. Eu, mă rog, am niște informații.
And James, about the next short example, don't need it, yeah.
No,
this
it's
is
not
like-
good.
yeah,
To make sure at the end
Okay.
causes problems.
So, yeah, if you could explain
So-
a couple of words what has been done on the
What-
lower level.
What we mostly were doing here is we were seeing many branches that were either on top of each other, where the one is going to shade the lower one,
Ceea ce vedem mai multe sunt ramuri care se suprapun și ele urmează să umbrească reciproc.
or that were growing through each other where they were rub
Sau
and
trec
create
peste
injury
cazuri și se rodă
to
între
the
ele.
bark inside the tree. So we wanted to cut so the branches won't touch as they load up with nuts and with the wind.
Vrem să le eliminăm pentru a evita situația în care ramurile se ating, se rodă una de alta, mai ales în special în cazuri de vânt.
And also so the light can get in and each area that's producing nuts will have plenty of light for the leaves because this will give high quality nuts.
Inclusiv pentru a crea niște culoare de lumină, ca lumina să pătrundă în interior, să alimenteze creșterea în calibru afro, adică fotosinteză mai bună.
I wish we were able to.
E bine că traduceți.
Yes, if we could get up in there.
După lucrarea lui, fix traduceți, să spună mai departe.
Noi am vrut să înregistrăm.
Spune
Bine,
mai
da,
departe.
ok. Da, da.
So on this tree, the lower part of the tree I could reach, we have done that, where we have the branches spread out and have light. If I had platform or like a pole, I would want to cut in the center so it had the one and a couple branches out, where right now it has 6. It should really have...
Partea care am putut ajunge, partea de jos, noi am făcut lucrul respectiv. Am eliminat o bună parte din ramuri care se suprapun. Dacă aș fi avut o platformă mai înaltă, sus, la al doilea nivel, aș fi eliminat o bună parte din ramuri și aș fi lăsat numai câteva distribuite uniform în jurul actului.
Oleg, spune că noi ducem scară și la stai de sus.
Nu. Nu e
Tu ești
clar.
sigur?
Nu,
Nu e
glumește,
clar.
Ok.
Uite că v-am spus să nu ne implicăm. Hai mai departe.
Yeah.
E corect, e corect.
He agrees so far.
Vedeți,
Unde
ca
e
exemplu, eu pot
ferestrău?
să
Da?
să-i dăm amuia,
Dă
să
ferestrău.
facem chestia pe
Lasă.
Eu pot să mă ridic în copac și să amuia, să facem un exemplu până la urmă, să-i dăm jos, să vadă lumea și
Hai,
ne vorbim
scață-te. Dă farfica la mine. He'll get up. He'll get in the tree, so you will be able to coordinate
Okay.
some of the...
Be careful in the tree.
Well, would you keep this one if you have this instrument?
Yeah, I would keep because it is out here. It's kind of ugly there, but it will heal. And out over there, it has plenty of light to come there.
Okay, so this doesn't... So now, stai o secundă.
Yes. You take out. Yes.
Ah,
Got that one and the two that cross kind of on the left
pune lama
side.
pe ramură și ăla se ghidează. Pune lama pe
Careful
ramură.
in the tree.
So
Probably,
he'll touch the branch, you tell him if it's the right one to cut.
To find out this, to let to go...
I would take.
Nicolae.
Nu
The
tăi
middle?
la inel. Tai la șef ușor ca să dai 2-3 lăstărași ca noi să fie pentru rod. Nu tăi la inel, te rog.
Nu, dăm, eu îl ascult și...
Las fac pomul ăsta până cap. The middle branch or?
I would take out. Yeah, that one there. Cut that one.
Așa, da, lateralul scoate, nu?
Asta e, dar vezi,
Yes.
trebuie să o iau pe asta.
Those,
Okay.
that one and the one behind it.
Așteaptă.
That's
From the three top ones, which one to remove?
so.
If
I would
any?
for sure remove the one that's.
No.
No, to the left.
Yeah.
To the left of it, because it's very narrow. The one all the way
stânga.
closest to you.
Da, da.
That one, yes, for sure. Take that one. That one. Take that one off.
Ok. What about this?
Hai, tu tai ce și vorbim.
Dar nu pot, dacă o tau prima piață, când nu încap farfile.
Tai mai sus, las un șep, nu nimic grav.
Ok,
Mai atent.
Good.
Okay.
So we have a tree with two leaders.
Avem un pom cu două axuri. Doi lideri. Adică
from here where I'm now, look, this is looks more. Of course, it's
If I was keeping just the one, I would keep that one. If he was going to just one, yeah. So you could cut.
Nu, ține ferestrău. Dar n-am să-l pot tăi cu farfă.
and this are so.
Yeah.
Da, nu, el acum corectează.
Nu, dar e foarte corect ce faci tu, Nelu. Nu e ca în primăvara asta.
That is good.
De sax, Oleg, please, să-i dau șep și ăla până la urmă, să-i dau.
Da, asta e el.
E corect.
Since you are right there, you see the one that has the narrow split? Yes, that thing.
Da, asta e unica măsură. El, după asta, pomul își continuă creșterea, da. Eu îl înțeleg, adică am văzut la dâns și niște, n-am fost livrez în Statele Unite, dar am văzut multe fotografii, videouri. Și
Right behind you, there's one that has a split.
gândiți-vă, pomul este larg de crescut încă mulți ani.
Yeah, probably take that, the one closest to you, cut off. Yeah, cut that one.
Trebuie să creezi posibilitatea să duc în direcția care trebuie.
Corect,
And
foarte corect. E minune ce face. Anume asta.
Scoate o leacă de lemn, dar
take
el...
one of those two. I can't see from there which is. Yeah.
Horizontal, this one. This is more stronger and more. Make sure the more knots to have in the summer.
Yeah.
Eu aș lua pe asta.
Yeah.
Aștept să-mi zică, da, eu.
You figured take that one or?
Of course, this looks more stronger and more nuts for next year, but this is have more potential from in the future. This one.
Yes.
Which one you suggest removing, Jim? I will remove this one.
Yes.
I would keep the other. Nu, uite, asta vine, gândește, vine peste ideea ca să elimini ramurile care se suprapun.
Dar vezi că vine...
Aceea din dreapta crește într-o direcție
I
unde la
would,
tine e
I
vid, n-ai
would
nimic.
remove the one that's closer to me because it is over the top of this other branch.
Da, da. Vezi că tu de acolo
Corect.
vezi o leacă alte lucrurile, nu? Așa de la mai picioarele pământ, țin altă fel.
Corect.
Yeah.
Tu de mergi mai aproape de cer acolo.
From here, of course,
Ia
I
uite,
have,
e
Yeah,
repartizat
yes,
în
of course.
spațiu proporțional.
Da, exact.
I'd say that this is
I'll
good.
chop it finish here to the trees.
I think so. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for climbing the tree.
Da. Ia, o să-ți introg instrumentul.
So the idea of the top is
Da, da, da.
the idea of at the top is we're hoping this tree will continue to grow upward, but without platforms and expensive effort, we won't have a lot of control on growth. So if we have it set with a single shoot up and the spur branches, it shouldn't create problems up there, even if it gets much higher than we can reach.
Ideea cu formarea părții superioare a coroanei e că, având platforme, noi putem să intervenim oricând și să corectăm lucrurile care se întâmplă la vârf. În cazul în care noi nu avem platformă și aici nu aveți platformă, noi am eliminat ramurile care pot crea probleme cu aglomerarea în partea aceea a coroanei, am lăsat o singură tulpină centrală, adică un ax central. Suntem siguri că mai departe lucrurile vor crește în direcția corectă sau bună.
Și tot, dacă e tot, spun și eu ceva, dacă e tot. Întrebați. Mai are ce ne spune?
Yeah, do you want to comment anything else, James, on this tree? Because he has some question.
Other questions fine.
Yeah, da, întrebați.
Nu întreb nimic. Ceea ce ați făcut dumneavoastră acum aici, acest concept vorbește despre ceea că noi suntem de la aceeași mamă, de la aceiași părinți, de la aceeași școală. Ca și cum că noi împreună am învățat, ca și cum că noi împreună am luat cunoștințe, profesionalism. Anume această lucrare noi am preconizat-o să o facem în primăvara aceasta. Ramurile care se suprapun, ramurile care pot să traumeze una pe alta, dumneavoastră să traduce.
Da.
Totodată să iluminăm coroana, să-i dăm să-i dăm posibilitatea ca chimicalele să pătrundă în mijlocul coroanei. Aceasta, iată, tăiere care ați făcut-o dumneavoastră, noi o să o realizăm în viață, anume așa în primăvara anului curent.
So what you have been showing until now on this tree proves that we have the same understanding on how it should be done. He says it's like we have been brought forth by the same mother. So actually, really, what you have shown here is what we were planning to do. So really remove what's crowding the canopy, creating some light penetration couloirs, and also creating the possibility for chemical sprays to get inside the crown. So yeah, thank you very much, and he totally agrees with you.
Very good.
Okay.
But I think we should do some other tree. Ar trebui să mai facem 1-2 pomi. Și să aveți și care reper pentru lucrători.
Da.
Let's pick another tree. Would you correct the problem of this one? Like here we have a very low branching, you know. It has been top grafted a little lower probably because the stem was not large enough and they have...
Yes.
Yeah. Would you do anything? L-am întrebat ca la genul ăsta de...
The problem with this tree is it cannot be mechanically harvested. So at some level we have to clean it out enough we can shake it if we want to mechanically harvest.
What about removing maybe, you know, the smaller branching here?
So yes.
And you know, shaking by taking, you know...
I think we will have to always shake twice, but what we need to do is take off this so that we can grab these and shake them. It'll always be a kind of funny shaped tree.
Yeah, as long as there are not too many like this.
But if we take off these three and then the shaker can grab there and here, it would work.
Ideea e că eu l-am întrebat pentru că poate mai aveți cazuri de astea. Ca să nu aveți probleme, pentru că cea mai mare problemă la genul ăsta de pomi e scuturarea lor, vibrarea. El recomandă să suprimați ramurile astea mai subțiri și mai departe scuturarea să facă apucând de astea două brațe.
Corect.
Dar asta ar trebui eliminat acum. Adică,
Acestea.
Da, toate ramurile astea de jos care...
Corect, ok.
Okay, let's take another one.
Dar pe altă variantă, Oleg, dar pe altă variantă, adică în minus cu 2 ani roadă, dar pe altă variantă, de lăsat în genere, de lăsat, de făcut, să avem un pom,
What about so another option to keep just this right stem and removing all other parts?
we will lose,
E risc să produc foarte mulți lăstari, înțelegi? To me that risks producing too many suckers and you have to remove them year by year.
It is a risk of that. A tree with two split from above that's even is not ideal, but the age of this tree, I would rather have that than to try to force it to grow well on one end if we cut amounts to well over half the tree off.
La vârsta asta nu e recomandat de suprimat ramuri atât de groase pentru că risc să produc foarte mulți lăstare. Și eu știu din propria experiență, asta e dezastru. 4 ani te chinui. La vârsta asta recomandă deja mai bine de păstrat 2 tulpini. Nu ideal, dar e o soluție destul de bună pentru genul ăsta de situație.
Corect, de acord. Corect.
What is
Yeah.
perhaps more
Yeah,
is
the
if you
smaller
have a tree like these younger trees and we can get them pointed into a nice structure, we should be able to avoid needing to do such extensive pruning when they're
Yeah.
older.
Great. Let me help you with this. E mai bine la etapa asta, la pomii ăștia tineri, de intervenit și de suprimat acum, de dat direcțiile corecte de creștere, decât să intervenim mai târziu, cum e în cazul la pomul precedent, să înlăturăm, suprimăm mult lemn.
So like
Yeah.
this tree, I would remove this.
Do it.
Go ahead.
Do you maybe hear the smaller scissors? It's more
These work.
Păi, facem
Da.
tăiere.
Da.
Așa.
I would remove that, and I would remove this, and I'd probably take that one off,
Destul de radical.
aici arată pom ideală, că așa după, Oleg, după a noastră, așa, pentru...
and
Nu,
that
nu,
one.
dar eu mă gândeam să păstrez și de acolo.
Da?
Nu, știi cum, eu când fac curățarea la mine,
Nu, zice, uite, astea
Da,
gen...
ce trebuie?
Yeah.
eu la mine când ajung la un pom nu e clar, întâi fac un cerc în jurul lui pentru că
Corect.
îți faci o idee mult mai clară.
Take that off,
Altfel nu te orientezi.
and
Întâi îl examinezi împrejur.
I don't want this one.
Alo?
Also, we need to be careful about how cutting this.
Yeah. Let me
it's-
clean that up. It's making noises.
Da.
So that I would say these are good.
Adu tu un minut, rog.
And then-
Un minut. Вы имеете в виду
You do not need to tip.
в четверг,
Nu,
27-го?
lasă să duc să crească.
Yeah, leave them
Da.
like that.
Сколько вас
If we
участников
tip,
будет?
it creates problems.
Noi avem 4 șarpante aici și mulțesc.
Да, приезжайте, у нас конференция бесплатная.
Asta e pomul
Можете приезжать, но желательно регистрироваться. Если можете писать номер нашего секретаря
Окей.
ассоциации, звонить ему, просто давайте ваши имена.
Just good. Other.
Секретарь ассоциации.
Dacă se poate
Да,
aici.
да. Я вам даю, если можете писать его номер, и свяжитесь с ним, и он вас запишет.
Dumneavoastră puteți traduce, da? Da. Hai vă rog ca dumnealui să cunoască. Timp de 5 ani, de când s-a făcut deci altoirea pe tulpinile soiurilor moldovenești, avem coroanele care le avem, 5 ani de vegetație.
So they regrafted 5 years ago.
Yes.
So that's the situation. So it's during 5 years we
Yes.
have this crown developed.
Yes.
Acum schema era 10 pe 10. Noi am îndesit 10 pe 5.
It was
Am plantat.
10 by 10, 10 by 10 initially, and
Yes.
the one after they regretted, they planted one
Like this.
tree between this
Yes.
in a row. So
Care e nenorocirea și tragedia acestei livezi? Pe parcursul acestor ani n-au primit fertilizanți, neavând irigare și neavând precipitații atmosferice. Aici cad, cu toate că e greu să ne credeți, 250 de milimetri pe an. Aici vânturi puternice și precipitații nu, se că în vale plouă.
Dar aici îmi pare că mai mult.
În vale plouă, e glod, aici e col.
Ok, nu.
So
No.
what was the
No
situation
investment.
during these 5 years?
Da.
This tree was planted, but this orchard didn't receive any fertilization, any water, and it was just like the God was given.
Yes.
And saying the precipitation, I mean the rainfall is very small. It's like in millimeters.
Yes.
If it generally in country is pe țară cât e? 450? 800 de mililitri, da?
250.
Nu, dar în țară e 800 e media. If by average in the country it's 800 millimeters a year, here it's 250 millimeters a year.
Yes.
This region.
This region. But
Yes.
they have the river. very big
Unica
river.
ce s-a făcut pe acești pe care i-am plantat ca îndesire, făcându-le vâni, ligheni mari, i-am mutat artificial. Dar cu toate acestea,
They make it
analiza,
not like a hole, but it like a channel
Uh-huh.
around,
Yes.
and they were irrigated by tractors.
But try
by
put some water for the young
put some
trees.
water, not as enough, but at least some.
Yes.
și în lipsa fertilizanților și irigării, ești firesc, avem o creștere catastrofală. Ia uitați, un copac tânăr, un an de vegetație și a crescut.
But also, what you thinking about it? It's catastrophic situation.
It's small growth. I mean, 5 years, only like this grow.
Părerea dumneavoastră, la vârsta de 5 ani, el trebuia să
What's
fie
your
de acum
view?
viguros, trebuia să aibă aceste șarpante,
5 ani,
trebuiau să fie, da.
Vezi în Statele Unite un copac de
Nu.
5 ani, acum e mai mare ca...
Nu, el arată ca de 3
Nu,
ani.
nu,
E ca
eu vă
arată care
vorbesc, e că acela e de 5, aici e de 4,
Renoit,
da, fiindcă tot reparații, că aici e de 4 ani, a 4-lea an, adică.
El se vede, uite, următorul.
acela e a treilea,
Not less, but
acela e a
number
doilea.
3. Example, this can say
So
it's 5 years.
Diferite
They are
vârste.
not irrigated, you see the small growth during 1
Yes.
year, so it's small.
Hai să-l curățăm pe ăsta, iar cu așa creștere, ce-i facem?
So let's yeah, cut it as you think it should be.
Yes.
So question was not irrigated.
Orice caz, situația se
Here, no.
Ha?
I mean, they did some channel
by hand.
and by hand.
Așa la noi, nu avem resurs, nu avem apă.
100 liters.
La noi
Save
tot
the,
To save not to die the tree.
not
Yeah.
to die.
Yeah.
Big ones. The same?
Yes, but they are when they were 12, they've been cut it and regrafted channel up. This is why they look good, because they are radical.
So I would take off that.
And now the put irrigation, right?
Looks like they are.
I would take off that, and I would take off this, and probably thin this out also.
Yes.
Same here. And maybe here.
Probably they planted.
And that one. So my idea is knowing the tree, because it doesn't have too much water filtration, is not going to grow very vigorous, is to make sure where it does grow is things I can keep that are going to be productive. I think it will be a productive tree. It's healthy, it's growing, not very fast. But I want to make sure it's not creating, say, a double, because it doesn't have a lot of growth. So if it creates a double, I have to take one, it is wasted.
Asta că el și încearcă facă copacul, că el nu are irigare, asta îi face loc ca el să poată crește. Bun, nu-l lasă ca pentru unul cum ar fi cu irigare, că e supraplin cu multe crengi astea, dar el face ca să aibă lumină, ca să fie productiv din ceea ce are el și să facă, de exemplu, și fructele să facă mari.
Clar. Clar.
Yeah, that could come off also. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I would
cam așa e, cam așa acum.
What about this one, James?
I think it is probably productive.
Yeah. Okay.
The stake will come off, could come off even right now.
So,
If it was a more vigorous situation, I would prune more aggressive.
yeah.
But
in this case,
in a case there's no water, there's no fertilizer, maybe
we
it's
have
not so
about
much.
an hour left here in this orchard because then we need to move.
Yep, of course.
Lelan, de aici până la tine cam cât estimezi? Vă 2 ore? Vă 2 ore cam, nu? Noi trebuie să fim la 1, că eu plus minus am calculat să ne încadrăm până la... So, let's use this hour that we have left in order to spread it a little bit in a couple of chapters. So, next topic. Let's discuss a little bit about the soil maintenance, like
Yes.
the herbicide. What would you recommend? As I understand, they just put the pipes in the ground for irrigation.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, they will probably level the planificați îndreptați terenul.
Da, planificăm cu lama să nivelăm și vrem să întrebăm care variantă în lumea asta mare, pe acest glob, pe terra noastră, care variantă în livadă e cea mai bună? Ogor negru sau înierbire? E că răspunsul ăsta avem nevoie.
So, what's the best option in the world for this orchard, for the soil maintenance, soil management,
Yes.
flower management?
Yes.
What would you recommend? Like, take it by steps. So they
So,
intend to level. They will
yes.
level everything, right?
The first thing I would do is get the ground smooth. And we intend to mechanically harvest this in time, correct?
Prima recomandare să îndreptat solul, pentru că noi intenționăm să recoltăm mecanizat.
Corect.
Correct. Okay, so first get the ground smooth where it's going to be able to be harvested off of. And then the second thought beyond that is the area right around the tree, say from about here to about here. I would primarily try to keep vegetation from growing against the tree by use of herbicides.
Suprafața asta, fâșia asta, cât o arătat el, vreo 60 cm partea alta și ține-o liberă de burieni, în primul rând cu ajutorul erbicidului.
Așa, corect. Asta și am preconizat și agregat procurăm. Deci este vorba de 1,5 m, de 1,20 m, 1,30 m, 1,40 m.
Cam așa.
Asta cu erbicide.
Da.
Dar ce ține de între rânduri?
Da, cușcă el ați vorbească de care erbicid.
Aha. Gheorghe, despre erbicide, vină încoace. Spuneți. Nu, ascultăm.
Ascultăm.
Ne
Bine să
recomandă
discutăm după aceea,
erbicide.
dar să-l ascultăm, am venit câteva zile, dar trebuie să facem maxim.
So my primary idea with herbicides would be to apply the ones in the winter that prevent the germination. So that way during the summer you don't have them coming up and competing with the tree growth when the tree is leafed out.
Prima intervenție ar fi în cursul iernii, aș aplica un erbicid preemergent care întârzi foarte mult pornirea burienilor în vegetație și evit concurența cu pomii în faza de dezmugurit și prima perioadă de vegetație.
Care? Mono sau dicotiledon?
El lasă toate pe etape, noi numai trebuie să producem.
The rest of the open area you will probably be beneficial if we could get some sort of cover crop planted here in the winters. I don't know what's best in this climate, but if we had some mix of legumes and grasses and forbs that could be planted in this area in the winter when the tree is dormant, so it does not compete.
But the idea is to have them growing during winter time
Yeah.
or during vegetation time.
During the winter time.
They will not grow here.
I know there's not much that will grow here in the winter.
Ideea e, după aplicarea erbicidului, recomandă semănarea unor culturi între rânduri, care, mă rog, îngraș solul. Dar ele la noi nu cresc, eu știu, la noi e un pic diferit.
Yeah.
So this will not work here.
Yeah, there's no sorts of peas or forbs, because like
They
when I
don't
was
grow
in...
because we have minus temperature, so you
Yes.
will not get anything growing before March, the end of March.
Okay. When I was in Poland, they had a variety of things in the winter, in December or in January. They had a lot of their ground had small grains, and it looked like a form of either kale or turnip that was alive under the snow. Do those grow here? I would think they grow here also, because it's colder there than here.
And when do you sow this?
In January, in Poland.
În Polonia există în Elivez câteva exemple unde producătorii seamănă culturi de astea care sunt adaptate pentru tipuri de climă mai reci, cum e la noi. Sunt niște specii de ridiche, dar you said turnip and the other one?
It's like a rye.
Ca un fel de rye. Asta secară, nu?
It's a type of grass. It's a grain, like you make bread out of.
Yeah, rye, secară.
If it were possible to do in this climate, and like I say, I've not lived here, it may not be, but I know climates this harsh, they do this. Having these plants growing in the winter can help capture more of the snow, it can help the water penetrate better, and it can help the structure of the soil.
Asta ajută la captare mai bună a precipitațiilor, la structurarea solului.
Captarea apei, da, and then after in spring we just...
Once the trees start to leaf out, we would take and mow this. And the vegetation of this will help in the soil because it will help with the organic matter in that.
Imediat, odată cu începerea sau pornirea pămânilor în vegetație, cultura asta intercalată este perfect.
So this would be my general recommendation. If you have ability of some amount of composted manure, it is always helpful, but if it's not available, it's not available.
O alternativă ar fi aplicarea gunoiului de graj, dacă este disponibil. Dacă nu e disponibil, atunci opțiunea asta cu... Adică asta e o fertilizare verde a solului, cum ar veni, și o structurează bine solul. Yeah. Is there... Okay.
Practic, fiecare an asta.
Do you do this every year?
This we do every year, yes.
And all the orchards, they do this? I mean, it's a regular practice?
It is a regular practice of all the orchards I'm involved with and many of my neighbors.
The reason... practic absolută la dânsul. Toate livezele aplică așa tehnologie.
The reason we do this in the middle is if we're able to get especially a mixture of legumes and forbs, we can almost completely cover the nutrition needs of our trees, including big mature trees, between this cover crop mix and a bit of compost. And so we don't have to pay for chemical fertilizers or only very small amounts.
Do they supply nitrogen and something else or just nitrogen?
And many other things. Because like the forbs and the turnips will pull up and assimilate phosphorus, they will assimilate potassium.
Forbs, can you explain that?
Forb, legumes and then grasses, and a forb is a plant, it's an annual plant that's not a grass or a legume. So you have...
Maybe in Latin you know the name of the species?
It's not a specific species, but it's a class of plants.
Say that again?
Forb.
Forb.
I know it's a summer plant, but say for instance sunflowers are a forb. I'm trying to think of other examples of forms. Most of the mustard family.
I'll look it up afterward.
Vizita.
Culturile astea intercalate e un mix, cel mai des, practic, un mix de plante leguminoase, mazăric, cred că, cu ceva graminee și forbs, care trebuie să ne clarificăm și specia asta, o clasă, o grupă de plante, care practic asigură cu elementele minerale necesare aproape integral. Adică știți că leguminoasele produc azot, fixează mai bine zis azot atmosferic, dar el spune că alte specii în mixurile astea ajută la disponibilizarea resurselor de fosfor și potasiu care deja sunt în sol. Noi tot ne luăm care el nu e accesibil ca plantele astea.
Noi o remarcă. Noi nu avem nimic în baza analizelor.
Am făcut analiză la solul, domnule, spuneți.
Poate ne dați analiza și când ne mai întâlnim cu...
Da, vă prezentăm, noi n-am știut pentru ziua de azi.
So their concern is that there's nothing in the soil useful. I mean, no available mineral nutrients. But I asked for a soil analysis. Do you think this could be the case?
I highly doubt there's nothing in the soil because the base minerals are there. I suspect everything that's like readily available has been taken up. But these, if we can get living plants that have all these different root depths, they will make available some of these minerals that are in the stone of the soil.
Eu am dubii serios că în solul ăsta nu există...
Okay.
Traducerea. Am dubii că în solul ăsta nu-i prezent toată paleta asta de elemente minerale, doar că suspectez că elementele minerale disponibile deja nu mai sunt, ele au fost absorbite, adică în forma lor solubile deja nu se mai găsesc sau în cantități mici.
Iată un exemplu, spuneți.
Și el spune că plantele respective care le recomandă ca și cultură intercalată ar disponibiliza.
E clar.
Another
Vorbim clar. Nu pentru recoltarea mecanizată. Monocotile donatele, să le băgăm aici. Chireu, usadul, tăi este, mă rog, de la Grodor, 11.000 hectare pe unii costă numai sămânță să băgăm aici. Și nu trebuie să mănătoare care...
Aici?
Aici cu erbicide, nu, pică și asta.
100.000 de lei sămânța?
11.000 de lei, da, de la Grodor vorbim.
So what's the cost in California for like the seed for 1 acre or 1 hectare? He says that here a hectare would cost only the seed. They received an offer for about so like $600.
oh
for 1
no,
hectare.
no, that is shockingly high.
A hectare is so twice
No, but our cost of seed ranges between $15 and $20 per acre, so a hectare would be
2.4.
2.4. So like
$50.
yeah, something like $50 a
Și
hectare,
costă undeva $50 sămânța la hectar.
Domnul mâine,
and that includes the planting cost.
mâine o facem.
That includes the cost of planting it. Yes. Yeah. There's many plants. Yes. The many types.
Înierbirea naturală, ei, o practică, nu zic din
crește слоновья.
Asta e amarant. Nu e amarant. Brusturi? Ori e amarantul de brusturi?
Care cu spicii, cu schini.
Ori brusturi, ori
Armurariu.
Amarant, armurariu. Da,
Armurariu așa.
Domnul președinte, repet întrebarea.
Another,
Iată, reieșind din situația reală, economico-financiară, în Republica Moldova, inclusiv și la noi aici, în ierbire naturală, iată, cele ierburi care le avem aici, le cosăm 3-4 ori pe vară și încet cu încetul înierbim natural. Practic așa ceva, se merită o astfel de variantă sau nu?
I suppose you are going to continue with this technique of intercrop sowing of the. But here's let's call it an intermediate question.
yes.
Could you apply this, considering the technical difficulties, some costs involved in sowing every year some cover crops? A good alternative could be like just keeping natural weeds growing from the ground and just mowing them permanently.
Yes, if you can establish things that are natural here and will reseed themselves, that can be definitely effective. And look and see what the mix is, and say if you have like no legumes there, maybe add just a bit of some things to add. But for sure, we have this practice. In our walnut orchards, we tend to seed every year with the mix we're using. But say in my fruit orchards, where I don't need the ground all clear to harvest, I will usually only seed every 2 to 4 years, because I get enough natural growth that is beneficial, and only if the mix gets too far where I don't like it, I will seed just things to adjust the mix.
Lucrul ăsta e posibil de făcut, există așa o practică la dâns și numai că trebuie verificat dacă există în compoziția naturală a speciilor care cresc între rânduri suficient specii de plantele diminuate. În idee, ele trebuie să fie de ajută. Dacă nu, trebuie făcut o analiză.
Does that work better?
Da, dacă nu,
Dacă nu există suficiente în compoziția naturală, atunci ar trebui de adăugat prin sămănat suplimentar. El în unele livează alt culturi decât nu practic chestia asta. Și acolo adaugă, adică peste patul ăsta verde care există, adaugă anumite specii pentru a...
Trifoi, de exemplu,
clar.
trifoi, că el absorbe azot.
da, lucernă, trifoi, e clar.
Did this seem maybe a more approachable idea here in Moldova? The other thing to look at with nutrient availability is the pH level of the soil. I understand in many of these areas, common in where I am in California also, the pH will tend to be fairly high, somewhere in 7.5 to 8.5. If you can apply sulfur to the soil, and ideally in the fall, so that way the winter rains will bring it in, the sulfur will react with the compounds in the soil, the calcium compounds, and lower the pH. And as the pH comes down closer to 7 or even a little below 7, it will release many of the nutrients that are in the soil to where the plants can benefit from them.
What type of sulfur would you add? What's the mixture?
It's just elemental sulfur and whatever's common, powdered, whatever's inexpensive and available.
Calcium sulfate, like gypsum, salt?
Gypsum can work, but you have to have a soil test and make sure that it has what's needed to react with it.
You add astea, sulf cu caliu, potasiu.
Gypsum.
Nu,
Sulfat de
îngrășăminte este, sulfat de potasiu, dar pui și sulfat și potasiu
Or
totodată.
what Liliana is saying, like use sources of fertilizer that would potentially include the sulfate radical. Like if you fertilize with potassium, use potassium sulfate, and this will add some sulfate to the soil. Deci recomandă el, just to translate quickly.
Yeah.
Recomandarea, vorbim de disponibilitatea elementelor nutritive în sol. De multe ori chestia asta e legată de pH solului.
Da.
De exemplu, el a înțeles că la noi în Moldova, așa este adevărul, și la dânsă în California fix aceeași problemă, solurile au pH-ul înalt, de la 7,5 până la 8,5. În tipurile astea de sol, multe din elementele nutritive sunt blocate chimic în sol, planta nu le poate extrage.
Corect.
Recomand aplicarea sulfului, adică a sulfatului.
Am preconizat.
Da, în diferite forme, sulf elemental sau îngrășăminte, gen sulfat de potasiu sau, nu știu, că gips mai aplică. Aplicat toamna târziu la suprafața solului, cu precipitațiile, ele se dizolvă și încet pătrund în sol.
Înțeles.
Și produc reacția chimică.
Scade pH-ul de la sulf.
Yeah. As far as using these, if you're applying, say, potassium anyway, looking for something that has sulfates in it can be beneficial. There usually are not going to apply quantities of that will actually lower the pH, at least not meaningfully. So in most cases, but it depends on the soil test, how buffered the soil is and what other compounds in it. Especially if you have lime in the soil. I don't have a soil test off of here, but it depends on what compounds are in the soil of what will react well.
We have a lot of carbonates.
Okay. In that case, if you're able to get elemental sulfur reasonably economically, that will be most effective.
Da, adică ideea e că în cazul lor, în unele situații, producătorii aplică îngrășăminte pe bază de sulfat de potasiu în măsura în care e necesară cantitatea aceea de sulfat în sol pentru a neutraliza puțin pH-ul, după care, adică revin la programul lor normal de fertilizare, nitrat de potasiu sau, cred că, sarea potasică, potasiu clor. În cazul, eu am spus că la noi solul e destul de, adică conțin cantități destul de mari de carbonat, el recomandă aplicarea sulfului elemental. But how would you apply it? Like in what quantities? Like take this orchard.
Ideally,
what would be the method?
Yeah. So the method, I apply it as a dry powder in the fall, and so that the rain will come and bring it into the soil. As far as the quantities, I would look at the soil test and kind of, there should be in the soil test how buffered, what the pH is, and then also the buffering of the soil. how fast it will change pH, and adjust based on this. In most,
So you said like in a powder, lime.
yeah, sulfurs, elemental sulfur is usually a yellow powder.
So you will spray it what closer
Yeah.
to the row
Yeah,
or
I don't really want on the tree, but yeah, anywhere here, like where they have their 2 irrigation lines, I just go through here with a scatter spreader.
l-ar dispersa sulful este elemental, ați înțeles, probabil după zona, unde e zona activă a rădăcinilor. You know, I'm not sure we will get to do a deep soil analysis and get a clear understanding, but take for instance, generally we have 7.8 pH soils, carbonates range from 5 to 8-9% of active calcar.
Okay.
So what would be, I don't know, take a guess like from your experience.
If I was guessing, I would probably looking at somewhere around a ton, half a ton to a ton and a half per acre. So it'd be, what's that not being, like 1 to 2 tons per hectare? Somewhere in this. It's just an initial guess without doing the numbers.
De la 1 până la 2 tone aproximativ, dar e clar trebuie făcut de sulf, de este elemental la hectar.
Totul e clar.
Ai idee cât costă la noi sulful? Nu e tare scump, vreo $2-3 îmi pare.
Cine?
Sulful. Un kilogram.
Sulful se extrage 6 kg la hectar, adică la tonă cu tăta este. Și noi stropim de 3 ori cumulus acolo și nu ne ajunge sulful e ca așa.
El vorbește de 2 tone la hectar.
Eu știu.
Tu vorbești de 3 kg la piață foliară.
Nu, eu îți spun numai la iarbă 11.000, la 220 hectare ea mulți ăștia. Șeful nostru când aude pentru mai chiclerul sărac.
What's the cost of the elemental sulf in
Noi de
California?
sulf nu e problemă, noi calciu avem.
I think the last time I bought
Calciu în loc de 85,
sulfur,
noi am dat analiză. În loc de 85 de miligram procent, am dat și la bibliotecă și la agrotehnologie. În loc de 85 de miligram procent, noi avem 138.
Noi să dăm analiză, să studiem de seară, cred că dacă poți trimite, te rog, eu scot la impresie. Yeah, so more or less.
off the top of my head,
$2
it was something like,
per kilo.
I was buying it per ton, and it was,
Tell me what the ton is.
yeah, it was like about 110 a ton,
$110 a ton?
something like
Not
this.
short
It would have been a short ton though.
So it's about 130 per metric ton.
Yeah, something like this.
$130 o tonă de sol de asta.
Like 12-13
Noi sulf avem.
cents per
Unde aveți?
gram.
Noi
În sol?
carbon avem.
Kilogram, sorry.
Yeah, something like that.
Carbon avem.
So,
10-12 cents per cents per kilogram.
Georgie's idea is that we have enough sulfur in the soil already. His problem is calcium.
Okay. There's a shortage. But you said there's a lot of carbonates.
Yeah.
Calcium carbonate.
Păi carbonat.
Da. Și el e uscat, pământul e uscat, el șede, nu migrează. Când e ud, el măcar să duce, dar la noi n-avem de unde.
Cum ați instalat irigare, tot asta e în regulă.
Da, dar am făcut analiză și la apă. De acolo îmi vine 4 toane de calciu anual.
So, what is your opinion?
84 pH-ul din
Prut?
Da, 6 noiembrie luat, nu vara.
Da. What's your opinion? So the irrigation water here is the pH is around 8.2, 8.4, and it also brings some calcium to the soil. So, will this additional calcium supplied with the water be a problem, or?
It won't be a problem. I mean, the trees need calcium, but they need it available. And if you have a lot of calcium carbonate, which is probably what's in the water, and raising the pH, it's not available to the trees. The sulfur can break the bond of the calcium carbonate and make the calcium available to the trees. The oxygen off gases. Gypsum could do the same thing. Another option that I've also used with irrigation water is you can titrate some acid into the water.
The tartaric acid?
No, titrate means we just adjust the pH of the water using acid. We'll sometimes use sulfuric acid. We use a variant called safe acid. We'll use infuric acid. Any of these work, depending on what's available. And
yeah, we have sulfuric. We use orthophosphoric.
Yes.
Nitrogen acid.
Yeah, the nitrogen acid.
Nitric.
Yeah, the nitric acid or the sulfuric acid tend to be better for this. The phosphorus sometimes will make compounds that can come out, plug the drippers.
Yeah.
And we'll use to adjust the pH, usually a little lower if we want to lower the soil. So we'll say take sulfuric acid and move the water pH from say 8.5 to 6.5. And over time, this will make the calcium both in the water and in the soil already available to the plants, and slowly lower the pH in the ground.
Întrebarea legată de calciul care vine suplimentar cu apa de irigare. Presupunerea că este, până la urmă, tot e carbonați de calciu, adică problema nu e în calciu, pomii au nevoie de calciu. Problema e în faptul că calciu e sub formă de carbonat de calciu care nu e asimilabil pentru plante, îl ai în apă și îl ai în sol. Respectiv, aplicând sulfați, tu rupi legătura asta chimică între carbonatul de calciu, tu faci calciu disponibil pentru plantă. El recomandă, sau o practică care o au în Statele Unite, să scadă pH-ul a apei. Bun, noi cunoaștem lucrurile astea. Dacă în prut e 8,4, 8,5, el de fapt scade în început de vară, eu știu că am testat. Tu reduci până la 6,5 folosind un corector de pH, un acid sulfuric sau acid azotic sau altul. O scazi până la 6,5, respectiv ai rupt legătura asta chimică în calciu care e disponibil în apă, tu l-aplici deja asimilabil pentru rădăcini în sol. În timp, pe termen lung, aplicând o apă cu pH-ul mai scăzut decât pH-ul solului, în timp tu să ai un efect și asupra solului, adică pH-ul solului tot scade.
Eu bag H3PO4, bag acid ortofosfor care de la tine să-l iau. El sedimentează calciu, formează calciu acolo, 3PO4.
El a zis apropo de fosfor că produce uneori
și el, densitatea lui 2,65 de grami pe centimetru cub. El se depuia ca acolo în bazin, cred că să ne ducem acolo să vedem bazin. Problema la noi cu ISO, spun care este. Nu-i problemă că noi să băgăm H3, acid ortofosforic. Problema unde eu să-l dau.
El a spus apropo că...
Asta nu-mi dă voie în nii să-l bagă în râpă, nu să-l dă. Dacă noi să sedimentăm. Sedimentăm 12, 14, 20 de tone de sediment. Unde îl dăm noi?
Și sedimentul aplici azot, asta acidul direct în apă?
Eu un bazin, încă un bazinul de 11.000 de cuburi, pun acid ortofosforic, el s-a dus, s-a sedimentat, conform legislației unde s-a dus.
Okay, the problem, so... His question is, how do you apply actually the pH corrector to the water? Because they apply it they have a pool, like a water reservoir. They apply the pH corrector in the reservoir. They have some sediment that is produced, deposited to the bottom of and then they irrigate with this water. How do you do, or how do you recommend?
Typically, we use sulfuric acid because it doesn't create a precipitate, and we will inject into the irrigation system just past the filters. So the water goes through the pumping, the filters, and then just past the filters we'll inject so we can peel off and make sure we got the right pH in the water.
Uite, Gheorghe, el aplică direct aplică, așa fac mulți la noi, în toată lumea. El îl aplică direct în apă, tu ai apa deja direct injectată, n-ai nevoie să-l aplici în rezervor. Cum corectezi tu acolo? Dacă la tine rezervorul scade, trebuie să împli.
Înainte de filtru.
Dificil. Adică, da, îl aplică direct în țavă care pleacă mai departe.
Pompa la noi, spune, pompa la noi e 125 de metri cub pe oră. El, din bocica asta de 3 tone, până în 2 metri, a să intre în reacție H3PO4 cu calciu și ala să ne neutralizeze. Cum? Oleg, hai fi serios, hai vorbim pe alții.
Eu mă stau de fi serios, da? Auzi, eu traduc. Okay, so I would get back to, we'll visit shortly the reservoir and I would like to get back to this discussion regarding the soil management for a couple of minutes more.
Yes.
So, if we speak about the natural grass covering, like you keep it growing, what would still be the distance between from the trees row until the green?
What I mostly want is to make sure I don't have grasses growing over where it's going to be problems to get the mower in. For sure, we want no grass real close, say closer than about, what is that, 3/4 of a meter? Because you can get pests and rabbits that approach.
Right, but during the vegetation period, is it not too close? Like imagine you will have like a green coverage throughout the year. Is it not a competitor to the root of the tree?
If we
I mean,
keep
my
these-
personal idea is like to have at least this,
Yeah.
this wide strip, clean of weeds.
Yeah,
But
anywhere in
like
there
your
is
idea.
fine. What we have found is that provided we keep these grasses mowed, where they're not becoming big towering things, they're not effectively competing with the tree. So we're mostly picking the distance based on what is, we for sure don't want anything right against the tree, because that does compete with the tree and you get pests that can go under it. Once you've gotten, say, at least a meter from the tree, we find it's really not competing with the tree and the roots. It's more of,
Keep them short.
yes, as long as we're short and
when
the tree is thick.
Taking into consideration the water competition, does
There's
grass taking away the water from the trees?
there's interesting
keep
studies
in mind
on
the fact that most of the orchards are not irrigated.
Yes.
Also, my question goes in this context.
Yes. There was interesting studies done on water availability with and without cover crops, and they did everything from killing everything with chemicals to tilling to having all sorts of weed growth, and they actually found that the tree had less water stress if there was a diversity of plants growing nearby. And I had done a not scientific but similar experiment. I had a piece that was not irrigated, and we get about half the water in California from rain as you do here. And we had places that were bare, and I also had places that things were growing. And the places where I had growing, was mostly bell beans, which is kind of an upright bean, were far moister, because I went to plant this field, and then I irrigated after I planted. And so I was digging holes. And the places where I had this growth, even though you would think it would take moisture, the ground was more moisture there.
But in what period of the year?
This was in late fall. This was like
So it was
August.
before the season, the rain season.
Yes, it was before. It had not rained in 4 months.
Wow, and it was moist. Until
And it was more moist. Where there was nothing growing, it was dry. It was dust dry because it had not rained in 4 months. Where I had the remnants of a growing plant, it was moisture in the ground.
Yeah.
Which was surprising because obviously the plant took moisture, but it was able to retain moisture in the root zone better than bare ground was. So that is where I went, I don't think it's competing as long as we keep it short and kind of watch what's there. This grass actually tends to pull a lot of stuff, but if you have this mix of other species of annual plants, it does not. It seems to have more benefit.
Control one another, and they compete between them and
compete or help each other. I'm not sure which.
What's the frequency of the mowing?
Typically, we'll mow 3 or 4 times in the course of the summer. So it ends up being a couple times in the spring, and then once like midsummer if we had regrowth. It depends if we got rain in the summer, and then we'll mow shortly before harvest to make sure everything's smooth for harvest.
So you said you don't really let the weeds or the crops in between grow too high. What would be like I don't know, a maximum size you would keep these weeds growing before you decide to get mowing?
So in the spring, I will sometimes let them get up somewhat high. But once the trees are definitely leafing out, and especially once the trees start to bloom, I will generally keep them shorter than
20 centimeters.
about that. I think in inches, so
if
I'm
they
letting him
exceed that,
convert.
you know that you're already too late.
Yeah, when I get it up to here, we'll do a pass with the mower.
Well, I should
Poate
do.
și mai normală, da? De 35. Ori n-ați vorbit pe tema asta?
Nu, am vorbit despre metoda asta de inerbare naturală, distanța de la point până la zona asta inerbată, care ar fi rezonabilă. Nu, până într-un metru e suficient. Eu la mine le văd țin un pic mai mult, 1,30 m. El a vorbit despre faptul că au făcut niște experiențe la dâns și în California, care mai puțin precipitație decât aici la noastră sau în general în Moldova. El a făcut niște teste, nu științifice, dar mă rog, observații așa în natură, unde au avut parcele acoperite cu niște plante de astea leguminoase spre sfârșit de vară și au fost vreo 4 luni de absență de precipitații. Parcela care era liberă de orice tip de plante, pământul era uscat complet. Sub în parcela asta unde era, solul încă de... Da. Ei străduie să facă până la 4 treceri cu tocătorul sau cositoarea pe an. Iarba, primul val de creștere, primăvara, înainte de zmugurit-o tund aproximativ când ajunge la 40 cm înălțime, învelișul ăsta de iarbă. Mai departe, în perioada de vegetație, încă 3-4 coseri, când iarba atinge maxim, nu cât o rătate, vreo 15 cm. Noi mai scăpăm mai lungă, da.
Clar.
I would try to avoid this becoming the dominant crop.
Și asta, salt sau? This is Piro, agropiro?
Din graminie.
Nu știu dacă e sada asta, nu cred. Este un fel de firuțe. Yeah, this is a invading species.
Yes, we have in California also. It can become very aggressive.
So tell us a little bit about the herbicide program. So you would start, you said, with a pre-emergent herbicide.
Yes.
What would that be? What's the active ingredient?
So we'll usually use a mixture of. I should have my list.
Methylene and oxychloroquine.
Yeah. Yes, both of those are common. And I'll generally put a small amount of glyphosate or glufosinate or one of these contacts. So if there's something living, it kills that, but it's primarily to prevent the germination.
So pendimethalin and oxyfluorophane, you do this combination of both, or?
Typically, yeah, we'll use a combination.
And about 0.5% of glyphosate or glyphosate.
And this in what percentage? How do you mix?
I would have to look up.
Because generally it's the same concentration in the product.
Depends on the product, because different products.
Yeah, because
it's gold. Oxyfluorophane is gold.
Yeah, it's gold.
Pendimethalin is what? Stump? Or stump is here.
Yeah.
Different.
And in the U.S., many times we get our chemicals from like these generic companies. So yes, it originally was gold, and now it's, I don't know, biocide XY or something, and and the concentration changes. So because of that, I don't remember the mixes.
We'll get to that. So when do you apply it in your conditions?
In my conditions, we applied. It's like this time of year, but here I would probably wait another month-ish because it's so much colder here.
So like we get the weeds start growing generally in April, like 10 of April, 15.
Yeah.
You get grass, so you need to apply it before any weeds start growing. Or as you said, if you get some vegetation, you add some glyphosate.
A lot of times I'll end up applying when I get a weed growing like here and there. Like, so they've started to grow, but most aren't, is usually about the time I will hit with this.
And one more thing, it's rain. Because
you need rain to
for the
activate.
You need the water to go down, so you need to watch out for rain.
So
or
you need to apply it before a rain or right after a rain?
Before rain. You have to apply
so you need
before
to
rain.
Look for the weather.
Yes. So once it's...
So when you apply it, how many days can you wait for the rain before the molecule breaks down? Or it breaks down and it has no effect?
Yes, and it depends on which one of the chemicals, but usually you cannot wait more than 8 to 10 days, maybe as many as 14. And if it hasn't rained, it doesn't work right. Yeah. Ideally, you want to put it on and have it rain within 2 days.
And also, what you can also do is you can use a lot of water when you are applying it, so Yeah, that may also help, but not as much as the rain.
Yeah.
Well, let
We've
me
tried
ask
this and it hasn't worked most of the time.
a question of how we do it sometimes here. So, including myself, I don't point fingers to other people.
Yes.
So, what I did, and I think this is wrong, but you're here to correct this. So, if you start like we get the weeds growing by very actively by mid-April. So by 2025, well, depending on the years, by the beginning of May, you already have like a pretty nice green coverage all around the orchard.
Yes.
And what I do, and many people do, we apply immediately glyphosate. It will kill everything. It will burn down like in a couple of days. But then it will last like 1 month, and then we get back with another glyphosate application.
Yes.
How bad is this in your opinion, or is it not so bad?
Unnecessary, perhaps.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary work. The bigger issue with this is here, glyphosate, from what I've heard, is pretty good at killing off all your weeds.
Yeah.
In California, this system was used historically, and at this point we have many plants that are immune to glyphosate. And if you persist with this system here, in probably 3 to 8 years, the glyphosate will no longer kill off all your weeds. And then you will have this additional problem. The pre-emergent herbicides, because of their action, it's much more difficult for the weeds to develop resistance to these chemicals. And also because there's more options, you can change them year to year, and this avoids having the chemicals become ineffective.
Yeah.
So in the short term, while it's all working, it's fine. It's not great. Glyphosate has its challenges, but it's not terrible. Longer term, the glyphosate will stop working. It's fairly quickly.
And Roundup glyphosate has dangers in application in windy environments. So by
Gold does
having
also.
a more effective pre-emergence herbicide mechanism, you reduce significantly the needs and the urgency of applying post-emergence herbicide.
Yeah.
So to get back to the right method, so you apply. Do you sometimes use other combinations except this one, these ones, pendimethalin plus?
Yes, we do. I do not have the full list memorized, but we have, off the top of my head, something like 7 or 8 different active ingredients of pre-emergence, plus 3 different contacts, the glyphosate, glufosinate, and the paraquat.
Will you share that during the conference in the present? Because we have the topic of the management of the bearing.
Yes, and Murat
so
had looked
maybe
up he'd looked up a list of ones that are available here, because I don't know for a fact that they're all available, but it seems like many things are available here.
Some are not, but most of them are.
Yeah.
So you do this pre-emergent herbicide, then next event in the spraying the soil around the rows.
If the pre-emergent went well, we got it applied well,
And
we got
water,
the rain. Generally, this will hold the weeds down on the border most of the part through the season. So we will go through the whole season. We will go through with like a very small sprayer. If we have like, there's weed coming up. Maybe it's immune to something, and we will spray just the local weeds.
So you mean you do just one herbicide application per season?
If it is done well, yes.
Yes. At least you'll be comfortable
Yeah.
until July.
Yeah.
And if you start being uncomfortable, you see like a lot of pointed applications. You recommend, like you see some spots when you have weeds, like you get maybe because of a lot of rainfall, or you applied a lot of nitrogen and that stimulates new growth of the weeds. Or what would you do?
It depends if you get rain in the summer. So in California, if we basically don't get rain between April and October. It just doesn't rain. So if we have in the summer these coming up, and we don't have fan jets, there's certain orchards on sprinklers where we can use pre-emergence in the summer, but I don't think that's common here at all. So in this case, I would be ending up using glyphosate, glufosinate to keep the weeds killed so I can harvest. But it'd be spot. If I
problem-
had rain in the summer, I would go through and use the goal and the pre-emergence again. Be very careful with goal in the summer when the trees are leafed out. If it gets sucked up into the tree, it can hurt the tree badly. When they're dormant in the pre-emerge time, it's not a big problem. But once the tree is leafed out,
Here,
it is
I
bad.
think there's also, if we compare a little bit the situation in California and here, we have soil saturated with weeds. Like if you take a sample of this soil, you would put it, I don't know, some compound, a closed-in space. You water it, give it sufficient temperature. The weeds will start growing. You'll kill them. Nothing gets inside, like in a cube. Another wave of weeds will start. You will kill them again, and I think you will keep going like this for years.
Yes.
It's
In
impressive.
California,
so that's
we
why
have.
I'm insisting a little bit on this herbicide program, because here you will definitely get a second and maybe a third wave growing of the weeds, and we get sometimes pretty heavy rainfall during summer, which will of course encourage the weeds to grow.
Oleg, what I recommend is, this is the right time of the year. You can make a trial, just 100 meters, try that, and compare it during the season,
See
the
how
growth
it
of the
holds.
weeds with the area which is not applied.
No, we'll definitely do, like a change a little bit based on your recommendation.
We have a
my
lot of.
question and concern would be, yeah, of course, later application will use glyphosate. Yeah, we'll see what else is available, to
Yeah.
also change a little bit, not use and get dependency or get the weeds resistant.
Yes, foliar resistance. As far as the saturation of weed seeds, we have very high saturation in California also. It is
Vorbit de
common.
erbicidare, nu știu care e planul dumneavoastră aici, dar ideea lor e să aplicăm, adică e așa ce să fac, aplică erbicidii preemergente pe bază de pendimetalin, a noi stom, știu că este mai sunt niște erbicide, plus oxifluorfen. Sunt cunoscute, ăsta e goal. El se folosește și în alte tipuri de livez. Astea două substanțe active, dacă în momentul aplicării, și evident că fiind preemergent, trebuie aplicat înainte de pornirea în vegetație și trebuie aplicat înainte, preferabil cu câteva zile înainte de o ploaie prognozată. Dacă se anunță ploi și perioada optimă pentru aplicarea erbicidului, ar trebui de la aplicat. Există situații în care erbicidul e aplicat la momentul potrivit și are efect de durată și există situații când erbicidul practic poate să nu aibă efect dacă după aplicarea lui nu urmează ploi, care evident, știți cum funcționează erbicidele astea. Trebuie să-l incorporeze umiditatea, să-l ducă în sol, unde previne germinarea.
Clar, pentru
Da.
toată lumea.
Mai departe, el spune că la dâns și în California, practic, nu sunt necesare de regulă alte erbicidări. Și aici pe mine m-au mirat foarte mult, ca și la noi. Dar ține de cantitatea de sămânță, de burieni din sol prezentă, și plus e vorba de cantitatea de precipitații care o avem noi și o au ei acolo, știți cum mai...
Comparativ.
De asta aici un pic stăbească să mai...
E clar, domnule, tot e clar. Nu rămâne să ne mulțumim pentru că avem o astfel de
Păi asta,
informații.
Oleg, asta sprănește, lucrează mai mult erbicidul ăsta, mai mult ca cum ar fi fertilizanță de urie, trebuie cu apa împreună. Adică
El trebuie să-l dai înainte. Știi cum, erbicidul preemergent, tu îl aplici pe sol, după care neapărat trebuie o cantitate de apă să-l incorporezi. Ori de regulă lumea stăduie să-l dai înainte de ploi, în cursul lunii aprilie.
În cazul dumneavoastră...
Asta e un concept
Nu,
pentru toată lumea.
Da, asta
în cazul dumneavoastră că aveți irigare subterană și dacă nu aveți precipitații, mi-e problematic să lucrezi cu așa erbicid. De exemplu, la Oleg și de exemplu la mine, vorbim de irigare prin aspersiune. Tu poți controla singur, când vrei. Ai pornit, ai aplicat erbicidul și
e simplu.
Peste perioadă, adică și ai aplicat cantitatea de apă. Dar aici, să vedeți...
Ne conformăm după
Spune chiar și când e de la ploaie la ploaie, e mai bine. Chiar dacă e aspersiunea, păi oricum nu e efectul cel mai mare. Da, dacă plouă, atunci e efectul cel mai mare. Dacă îi spune că sigur că merită, dacă faci tot sezonul, tu nu mai ai treabă cu...
Nu, e bună practică. Noi nu aici în Moldova nu prea așa
Așa,
facem.
dar cât să înțeleg, încă și puțin și glifosat se adaugă, da?
Da, puțin glifozat, dacă am scăpat, adică se văd deja niște
Dar ar fi foarte bine să
burieni
compoziția,
plecate
să
în
facem
1,5%. You said one, or you said Murat, the percentage of glyphosate, half percent?
What I do is I generally do 0.5% of glyphosate Roundup within the pre-emergence herbicide, but that also depends on how much green stuff you have.
Yeah.
Jumătate de procent de glifosat, da. Testat. Okay, so we should little by little get going. Mergem să vedem bazinul sau
Cum doriți dumneavoastră?
cum
Cum
spuneți
doriți,
dumneavoastră?
cum e programul dumneavoastră?
Programul nostru este să atragem atenție la subiectele care sunt de interes pentru dumneavoastră în primul rând. Noi cam în linii mari am discutat. E clar, n-am atins subiectul fertilizării, dar noi mai avem niște plantații unde mergem, mai rezervăm ceva și pentru ca să nu epuizăm aici toate temele și apoi să vă dăm înregistrarea că sunteți beneficiarul, să fie cu traducere, cu tot. Da. Gheorghe, tu ai nevoie să discutăm ceva acolo la rezervor? Sau?
Domnule, eu aș vrea să ne ducem la bazin, să vedem într-adevăr, dar toată structura noastră care este.
Hai să vedem, poate nu mai stăm mult, maxim 15-20 minute trebuie să plecăm.
Omul, dar m-a venit și n-ați mai fi mâine.
We have very high capacity
It's
wells,
enough capacity to, okay.
but a lot of times we'll get water from the rivers. And each condition with the river is different.
Okay.
So some conditions with river, you get a whole bunch of water all at once. Other conditions, you get a little bit at a time.
Okay.
So if you have this, a lot of times you need a pond to balance out when you can get water from the river and when you need to irrigate.
It's everybody. It's not the same. Everybody.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Each little area has its agreements and water rights with the river. So.
Tomorrow we'll go on my plantation. You will see, also, I have from river.
Oh yes.
And we make the project. We calculate to not use the bassin, just from river.
Yeah.
On the fields, we pumps because the water it's
very clean. Yes.
quality and in future if we need more we can have we have one bassin.
Yes.
So can be two pumps, one from direct from river and one from basin.
there.
But we will see.
Yeah.
În fiecare parcelă parte să dă împăcaul, calciu, magneziu și sulfur. Categoric.
Each shell on this 56, it has its own dividing.
They give data how many.
6 macroelemente și microelementele dăm foliar. Macroelementele dăm foliar.
6 microelements they give in the water, and
Respectiv,
The rest
by leaves.
ținem cont de accesibilitatea, da? Adică, sau zicem, azotul, da? El e disponibil în plantă și adică migrează și în sol și în plantă.
Accessibility of nitrogen, if it's migrating from the soil or from the
Magneziu e disponibil în sol, dar în plantă nu se migrează, că este pe loc.
Adică could be taken from the soil, but not could be taken from.
Schema noastră de fertirigare, în funcție de sol, în funcție de analiză, în funcție de disponibilitate, în funcție de pH-ul solului, adică
So
toate
they
aceste
take
soluri.
into consideration everything, if it's possible to find the soil or not, or it's assimilating and so on.
Depending on analysis.
Yes, analysis. Exactly.
Analyzing the soil. One question. He said that some elements they treat the trees. Which sprayer they use because the distance between lines is 10 meters. Which tree well, which
Spuneți că folosiți microelemente, folosiți pe foliar. Da. Întreabă cu ce stropitoare o folosiți, pentru că la dumneavoastră e stația destul de măricică, e 10 metri.
So they do one side.
Spune că mergem în două
Mergeți pe o
ore.
parte,
Da, da, mergem la
Acolo la 10 metri așa, aici mergem numai.
So yes, here already it's a small.
Avem diferite scheme de plantare.
It's a different scheme. Yes, it's closed. Aici cât e ce?
Aici e 6, noi avem 5, 6 și avem 10. Ia ca la 10 mergem de 2.
Da. La 5, 6 aveți în vedere între
Între rânduri.
So 5 and 6 we have 5 and 6. So for this 5 and 6 we use one.
5 and 6 chandler?
5 pe 6
Am avut levadă cu soiuri moldovenești 12 pe 10, am îndesit și am făcut 6 pe 5.
So it was 12 by 10. And now they make it double, so it's 6 by 5.
Unde am avut
6 between rows, 5
But the
in row.
chandler. Also grafted.
Care e realtoit,
Da, da, da. Realtoit și îndesit.
Dar unde e 10 pe 10, ați fost la teren, e 10 pe 5 acum.
So that what we see is 10 by 5.
What a complex.
Unde e 6 pe 5, avem 333 de fod la hectar.
333 trees per hectare in that 6 by 5.
Dar unde e 10 pe 5, avem numai 200 de fod la hectar. Unde e 7 pe 5, avem 208.
That's 7 by 5, da? So we have also 7 by 5.
Și avem 7 pe 6.
And 7 by 6.
Wow, they work with everything. How old is this new
Câți ani au? Este tânăr.
Acesta are 3 ani de vegetație din momentul altoirii, de altoire. A fost milotan.
3 years after they did.
So 5-7 is today, but how much they expect?
Cam când
Is
credeți
this-
că o să fie roada aici pe livadă? Că aveți 200 de hectare, anul ăsta ați spus că aveți 5-7 kg la copac, dar este
Cei altoiți pe care i-ați văzut, încă o dată repet, cei altoiți la vârsta de 7 ani, având un sistem radicular dezvoltat, ești firesc în perioada din 20 până 20, în perioada aceasta, a urmat o colonie care a dat 7 kg. Cei care i-am împresit, și rămână unul cu 3-4
Again,
ani.
saying that the big ones who has the roots, they've been regrafted, they definitely they give 5-7 kilos, but they give more. These ones
Are we
who've
speaking
been
dry weight?
between they will give less, they are not growing so fast, they are not growing so. He couldn't say, he doesn't have any estimation on it.
But when he says 5 kilograms,
5-7 kilos.
it's dry weight or
Nu ciuscate, da? De
Nu
5-7 kg.
ciuscate, de 8%.
8% the humidity.
Do they have facility where they are drying and cleaning live?
Aveți unde curățiți, spălați nucile? Sau?
Totul primitiv și manual.
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 Acum se lucrează pentru aleasfătorii, uscătorii, calibrare.
Now the investment starts, they've done this one, and the next project is just doing the washing, so crezi că la sezonul viitor o să...
Fără acest utilaj nu isprăvim cu varianta.
So definitely no more manual, because they
Yeah, you
couldn't,
can't cope with
they
it.
cannot, yes, they cannot.
De aceea, patronul face tot posibilul ca să se construiască, să se reconstruiască, să se monteze utilajele respective până în septembrie.
They will do very hard. Boss is insisting and trying to find sources to do the till new season to build up the facility to wash, to clean, to dry.
We wish you best of luck.
Dorim chiar mult succes.
Da, vă mulțumesc.